Hi everyone and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve and you can find me as Dramatic Knits on Ravelry and Leading Men Fiber Arts on Instagram. If you're joining me for the first time, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you're a returning viewer, as always, thank you so much for tuning in one more episode, and I hope you continue to enjoy what you're seeing. So first off, I must apologize that I am a week and a day late. Life has been so hectic around here. I honestly just could not muster the energy until now to record. As I mentioned in the past, the studio, the Leading Men Fiber Arts headquarters, is going through a major remodel. And if you're following us on Instagram, you've seen sneak peeks here and there in our stories, and we have it under a highlight so you can see some of the transformation. But we are firmly at week 2 of renovations. Things are going well, albeit maybe a little bit slower than we anticipated. But things are going well, and we're able to work around the crew for the most part. It's a little bit of a war zone, trying to pick orders and everything with, all the racks are covered and everything's been in the middle of the studio for the most part. So you have to move like 5 racks to get to the rack that you want. But I could not be happier with the progress that we're seeing. It's such a fresh, bright color in there, and the new floor is absolutely gorgeous, and our countertops are getting a facelift, and so almost the front 2/3 of the studio is completely done. They painted the back area, which is where we dyed the yarn yesterday. Andy has been working from home the last 2 days on dyeing a little bit of yarn to stay on top of some things, but we're a little behind on things because we just can't be back there to dye the yarn. Most of the remodel we've been able to be back there, but so we're hoping that the rest of the floor will be laid today in the back, and then then we can get back to working in there. Some other things that are still going on are the bathroom has to be painted and floor has to be laid back there. Trim. They are also going to be repainting the countertops on our checkout. So our checkout countertops almost run the entire width of the studio. So we've decided to go with a countertop paint and then seal it to give it a more cohesive look with our studio. We're going for a very pale gray with dark gray black accents and lots of metal, kind of industrial, and we're letting the color of the yarn really pop and sing in the studio. So right now the countertops are a very country 90s blue, and we are going to make those black. So the front of the countertops are corrugated metal, or the front of the counters themselves, and just changing out things here and there. We've had some water damaged ceiling tiles from the previous owners that we had replaced. I did add on, other than the countertops, which was not initially in the estimate. Sorry, I'm really not used to talking. I did add on, we have a full storefront window, display window with like a little ledge, like display ledge, and we did put floor and corrugated metal over that, but the ceiling up there above the window had no lighting and was kind of bowing in. It was just like this softening stuff, and there's insulation up there, but there had been issues and it was bowing in. So I was like, take a look up there. Well, soon it became, well, let's just tear it all down and put new insulation up. Let's put up new drywall or plywood and put pot lights up in there, and then we added a dimmer switch and everything so we could really display the window. So I'm super excited about that. So that was a little bit of expenditure on the studio, but Andy and I both agreed that it is in the best decision. There's tons of other things we want to get done, but again, money makes the world go round, you know what I'm saying? So we only have so much of it to spend right now. We are very blessed to be able to be in a financial situation that we can do this and not go into debt over it. But we are excited to hopefully someday soon open our doors to the public with the COVID pandemic being what it is and everything up on the rise. We're going into newer restrictions here in Illinois. I'm sorry, Illinois. My sister makes fun of me that I say Illinois, and I'm like, I grew up here. It's how I say it. But she says nobody in the world says Illinois, that it's ill, like somebody who's sick, Illinois. What would we do without little siblings to remind us how we're wrong? Anyway, so yeah. So we're hoping to open the doors soon-ish. We just have to see where COVID goes. You know, it's a very weird time to open your storefront business. But yeah, we're excited. I bought an opening soon banner that we can hang up in our window eventually. Andy wasn't super excited about that. He's like, we don't know when we're opening. The man just wants to die yarn and like listen to his headphones. And I was like, you know what? For the most part, you can do that. I will be front of house. Amanda will be front of house. Amanda's not too happy about it either, but she don't have no choice. So, but yeah, so we're going to play it by ear. We're still tossing around hours, ideas, and not really committing to anything. We're going to see how it goes for a little while before we really set our hours, but super excited. We're bringing in other products and things, which I have some to show you, and yeah, it's all good news around here. So other than that, nothing really super exciting. We were supposed to go up to Michigan last weekend, and we canceled that trip a day beforehand just due to the rising COVID numbers, and we just did not want to put customers at a risk more than they needed to take. Sorry if you hear the dogs, the mailman or somebody may be coming by. But yeah, so we canceled that trip. The store owner was hemming and hawing, and she was very uncertain, but we just made the executive decision for the as long as an hour, or it was a 6-hour drive plus 6+ hours. We're like, you know what? Let's just reschedule it. So we're actually shipping a trunk show up to them. That's Skanes on Maine. And yeah, the weekend before that, we were in Zionsville, Indiana at Village Yarn Company, which is always gracious enough to host us. Excuse me. And that was a good time. We didn't know what to expect, but we had a good time. So, yeah, that's pretty much been about it. Remodeling and just being tired. You know, working and then the stress and the travel. I was really excited not to travel this weekend, actually. So we're supposed to have one more trunk show in December. I don't know if that's going to be a go or if we're going to do a ship trunk show with them. We'll just have to wait and see and play it by ear. So other than that, I hope you have been staying safe, healthy, and sane, and that your past 3 weeks have been as pleasant as can be. And yeah. Anyway, all right, let me get a sip of coffee and let's jump into the knitting, shall we? I'm trying to take a look here. Oh, I think the iPhone update gives you a little green dot now to look at, so you actually look at the camera. Because I'm like, that's not the actual camera, but they give you a little green dot by the camera so you have something to stare at. All right, lots of stuff to show you. So what is taking a bow? What did I finish in the last 3 weeks? I did finish something, and that is the Aslyn Hat by Vanessa Smith. I used Dye Lots yarn Le Sport weight in the Driftwood colorway. And I do not have the tag. I thought I had the tag up here. And here it is. It was knit on a size 3 and 5 US, which is a 3.25 and a 3.75 millimeter needle. Obviously, the shorter was for the twisted brim, which it is a doubled over hemmed brim. And I could not be more excited for this. So I did the large or the extra large size, whatever the biggest size was. As you can see, it is a very tight, it's supposed to be a beanie, but it fits me just perfectly. So I wore my sweater so I'd kind of match. New sweater. I got these on clearance because when I find something I like, I buy it in every color. Are you like that? I'm like that. So I bought one of these on clearance at Old Navy, a navy blue one last year, and then they caught me with a Facebook ad and like, you know, discounts galore, and I was like, ooh, look, these were on sale in the summer for $20 a piece, and I was like, I'll take one in every color. Thank you. Except maybe yellow. I don't know. I'm not a gold yellow person for that all that much. So you can see here the beautiful texture. It's a lot of fun to knit. I enjoyed it. So that is the Aslyn Hat by Vanessa Smith. And I don't know if it'll stay with me or probably go in the gift pile. But there you go. So I highly recommend that. It is a paid for pattern. Next up, let's talk about my Happenings wrap. I've put some work into this. This is a pattern by Laura Tabbitt, and it is knit using Leading Men Fiber Arts Soliloquy as our main color. That's 150 gram skein with 657 yards. And then 5 skeins of Spotlight, which is our BFL nylon, 400 yards per 100 gram skein. And I'm using the colors Vengeance as the main color. And then Bend and Snap, Can't Quit You, Grapes of Wrath, Look on the Bright Side, and Sandcastle as my contrasting colors. And as I've stated before, this wrap is really neat because you roll 2 dice to choose. The first dice chooses your pattern stitch, which you have 6 patterns to choose from. And then the second die chooses your new color, and you're alternating and fading in colors as you go. And you can see from the marker there how much I've added on. I am in the middle of section 11. You can see my reflecting sunlight off of my drapes there. But yeah, so it goes to 18 sections. I am doing weaving in my ends as I go, which is now being all the rage called Weavin' Steven, which I could, you know, say is after me, but Stephen West recorded the video. I've been doing it for years, so, you know, it's not an original idea, but if you are looking for a video tutorial of that, you can check out Stephen West, Knits Weavin' Steven video, and it just shows you how to wrap your yarns over as you're knitting the new yarns in. Makes it a lot easier. It's not the most secure join. I would not use it maybe on garments, but I would definitely use it on shawls and accessories. So, and that's being knit on a size 4 US, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle. Next up are my Deadest Man in Dadonia socks. This is knit out of 716 Knit, 716 Socks Hardcore, which is her self-striping, in the Deadest Man of Dadonia colorway, and a Leading Men Fiber Arts mini skein in a director's interpretation that's close to Copper Cloud, but a little bit off. Here is my second sock. I am about 20 rounds from putting in the toe. There's my progress keeper, just to mark me where. This is actually where my ripcord is, where I'm going to rip out and put the afterthought heel. But I used the contrasting yarn, and it melds in with the stripes so much I couldn't tell which was the right and wrong, or like which was my end of round, because I knit I knit using 2 circular needles on my socks, and I use a size 1 US, which is a 2.25 millimeter needle. And I do believe I showed you the first sock last time. These are going to be for me, and I'm super excited about that. So those are moving right along. Next up, since I finished the Aslyn Hat, I decided to cast on a new project. And when I'm working off of my stash behind me, I like to download my stash spreadsheet from Ravelry, and then I use a random number generator to pick yarn for my next project, because unless it's self-striping sock yarn, all of this yarn has a project associated with it on Ravelry. And I picked it all and bought it all at some point because I loved it. So it needs to be knit, and I can't just knit with the newest stuff. So What my random number generator picked for me was one of these skeins. I can't remember which one. But this is some Queensland Collection Uluru Rainbow in color number 1007 Cape Hillsborough. I want to say it's this one. And 1010 Warta Bouquet, which is this one. So I'm doing the Zig-Zag Scarf by Christy Cam. And I'm using a size 3 US, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle. Because this is about a sport weight, and it calls for a fingering weight, and it calls for a 2.5, so I went up a needle size. And it's a free pattern. It's one row back and forth, and then you carry your yarns up. So it's very memorizable. Here it is so far. Now my yarns aren't completely contrasty that you're going to be like, wow, those stripe like the pattern, but I am alternating the gradient rows with that. You can see how wide it is. And I did put in stitch markers because I don't want to think. I was off the first couple of rows, so I said, oh, the stitch count stays the same between the markers. I didn't know with the increases and decreases if they would, but they do. So you pop in a couple of stitch markers and you go to town and don't have to think about things. So yeah, I think this is going to have beautiful drape and really wear well as a scarf. Here's one of the tags. I picked this up from a vendor at the Knitting at the Estate Retreat last year. And this is 382 yards to 100 grams. So it's a heavy fingering light sport. So I just went up one needle size. It's 49% cotton, 43% acrylic, 8% polyamide. So this would be a really good gifting yarn as well. And yeah, so definitely check that out if you're interested. And last but not least, let's show you the progress I made on my colorful linen stitch blanket that I'm crocheting. I'm using two colors, 2 strands of fingering weight held double or sport, just depends, to get about a DK weight. And I am hooking this using a size H or an 8 millimeter or an 8 hook. And this is a pattern by Helena Cat. You can see here, there's the bottom. There's where I'm at. The progress I've made is right there. So I really only do about 1 row a day while I'm home. Can you see the stitch marker there? But yeah, so I will move that up right now while I'm thinking about it. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm just magic knotting in the ends and cutting them because that's all I want to do. So there's that. Gotta remember to set forward as the sun's coming in. I didn't feel like going back into the corner I recorded in last episode. I was like, I thought I'd record early enough. It was almost just after 9 when I started, so. But you know, oops, sorry, I hit the tripod. Ooh, hit it back again. Okay, we're good. All right, so that's what I've been working on over these past 3 weeks. And honestly, there are days I just don't want to do anything. I'm like, ugh. But that's bound to happen. Nothing in the rehearsal as of now, so let's behind the scenes. Let's talk about spinning. I did finish spinning some Unwind Yarn Company BFL Silk in the Alpine colorway. Unfortunately, I washed that and hung it to dry at the studio, and it has not made its way back up to be skeined up and tagged yet, so I completely forgot to bring it with me yesterday. I will be listing it in the shop soon. If it doesn't sell, I'll bring it next episode to show you, but if it does, I will definitely have pictures to pop in on the next episode. I got about 352 yards of a 2-ply sport weight out of that, so. And then again, I used my random number generator on my fiber stash, and it picked for me another silk braid. This is, and some vintage stash, just like the Unwind Yard Company. This is Dragonfly Fibers, who has changed ownership. They are now owned by the two ladies that own Cannon Hand Dyes and White Birch Fiber Arts. They bought out Dragonfly Fiber Arts last year, at the end of last year, and they are now running that company as a third company owned jointly. So you should definitely check them out. But this is some 65% superwash merino, 35% silk in the Winter Woods colorway. I love a merino silk. I absolutely do. And I love these colors. Smoky blues and grays and coppers and little pops of like yellowy green in there. It's definitely a dreary winter woods. So I'm spinning that. I just started on that a couple of days ago. Not much progress on it. That was the second 2 ounces I have set off to the side. So I'll be doing that as a 2-ply fractal, which is my favorite. All right, in the scene shop, my other crafting. Right now, I am only working on my cross stitch, which is a Heaven and Earth Designs. This is called One for Sorrow. The artwork is by Stephanie Pugh Moon Law, which is going to look like this. It is a kind of, I don't know what bird you would call this. If anybody knows what bird that is so I can say what it is. Is that a sparrow? But it's like blue-winged. I don't know. I should probably know that. I just thought it was kind of dreary in my take, but here it is back on the Q-snap. I am almost done with the first top row of stitches on page 5. I finished up through page 4 and I'm working. So you can see there I've made a little bit of progress. This is being stitched on 25 count easy count fabric, 2/1 half stitch, and I bought this as a material pack from the Heaven and Earth Designs website years ago. There now is like a back order, so they're always taking orders of them, but you know how long the wait is. It can be exceedingly long to get the material pack because they pack everything, the fabric to the size you need, based on how you're going to stitch it, the amount of floss you need, and comes beautifully packaged and all that. But it is well worth it if you just want to work on a project and not accumulate a bunch of stuff, which is somewhat of where I'm at with cross stitch. I tend to buy kits, not so much, but I've been buying digital patterns too. But all right, let's move into In the Spotlight. What have I been watching and reading? I haven't finished reading anything. I just haven't been in a headphones kind of mood. Been playing a lot of radio at the studio because just the noise and something for the guys to listen to as well. So what we're watching, we finished The Good Place Season 4, which is their series finale. So we watched it during dinner, and the last episode got all emotional, and I was like so happy that we were watching it in like 10-minute segments, because that's really all you need time to eat, right? I was very happy with it until like the last scene, and I was like, just didn't need it, I felt like. But I definitely recommend The Good Place. It is a funny, cute show, something to throw on in the background. Last night we finished Ratched, which is on Netflix. It says it's season 1. I think they've been greenlit for season 2. It took us a little while to get through it, so maybe because of that, or maybe just because it seemed a little slow to me. There wasn't as much, there was some death and killing and things like that, but it wasn't as dark as I thought it was going to be. It was very much like a human interaction story piece. But again, Ryan Murphy does a historical period drama so well. Hollywood was great. Ratched was beautiful. So yeah, he's got a lot of things in the works right now, which I'm excited for. I know The Prom comes out on Netflix soon. Ironically enough, it's a musical with Meryl Streep and Everybody You Would Want. And I'm kind of like, I don't know about this musical, so I'm like, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I still want to watch The Boys in the Band, which is on Netflix. American Horror Story is kind of being pushed off, but they're working on American Horror Stories, which is going to be a spin-off of 1-hour episodes, so I'm excited about that. On Netflix, a while ago, Andy and I watched a foreign film called Cadaver. It is dubbed over, and It's kind of a dark, ominous film, but it was interesting. It's something I hadn't seen before. But basically, it's set in a post-apocalyptic world / town, and people are, just starving, and everything's run amok. But then there is this one hotel on the hill in the town, and it has electricity and looks clean and everything, and they say they're going to be putting on a play with a free dinner if you get the ticket. And they have their dinner, and then they realize that they are the play is supposed to be as real as possible. So there's a couple that comes in and fights, has a verbal argument while people are watching, and you are given a mask, and you are a spectator if you are wearing the mask, but if you take the mask off, you become part of the drama. And so you're supposed to you choose who you want to follow through this hotel. And it was a really interesting take, but things then go dark. So I will say that. They get spinning out of control. I thought it was pretty good. Again, that's Cadaver on Netflix. You know me, I love dark movies, supernatural, thriller, serial killer. So then we watched Books of Blood on Hulu. This is 3 different stories that are interconnected that take place, that deal with death and loss and the profiteering from people beating mediums and things like that. That's one of the stories. Another one is about a family not understanding a woman's mental health issues, and so she kind of tries to run away, but where she runs away tends to be a dark place with a lot of secrets. And then the last story is about 2 guys trying to profiteer off of one of the other stories. So I would say it's pretty good. Check it out. I enjoyed it. I also watched The Cured, which is on Hulu. This was, again, I think a foreign film or an independent foreign film. It's set in Ireland, I believe. And there is one actress that you would know, and I think they put her in there so that people would watch it. That's Ellen Page. She's from the Umbrella Academy, Juno, all that stuff. But this is, again, a post-apocalyptic zombie breakout in Ireland in this one town, and they have cured 75% of the people infected, and but they remember everything they did while they were infected, and the other 25%, they just are resistant to the cure. And so it's about integrating those who have been cured back into society, but how they are now second-class citizens, essentially, and how they are now in the works to exterminate the 25% that can't be cured. And again, things happen, hell breaks loose. But I thought it was all right. It was a good, knit 2 movie. And then last but not least, we watched It, Chapter 1. We have had Chapter 2 released to us on Amazon for a while, and we're like, well, we can't find Chapter 1 anywhere for free on any of our streaming services. So we were waiting because my sister's seen both, and she said, you really need to watch the first one because it, sets you up for the second one, because the first one is about the kids. The second one jumps forward in time to when they're adults. So we enjoyed it, and I don't know if I've ever watched the first one all the way through. I know bits and pieces of it. If I did, I was really young when I did. And I don't think Andy had ever seen the original. So it was nice to watch that together. And we'll probably sit down and watch Chapter 2 here relatively soon. All right, let's keep going. Let's talk stash enhancement. I have not been great, but what else is new? So I was once again enabled by Kevin and Ray at the Needles at the Ready podcast. If you're not watching them, you should. They have way more viewers than I do because they are an adorable couple who loves crafting together. And so they were mentioning Superfine Yarn Company, which I had the pleasure of actually meeting the owner and dyer behind this company at the Kentucky Sheep and Fiber Festival. And so I picked up some yarn from them to make a project. I think I paired this with a hat or a cow. I don't remember what I paired this with now. But everybody's got mohair, and mohair is not going away. And I'm trying to get Andy to bring mohair into the shop, but he is like, no. So again, I'm moving forward. Sorry if I'm a little close. I'm trying to get the glare off. So I picked up a skein of her kid silk, or her Shoreway kid silk mohair, which is 72% mohair, 28% silk, 459 yards and 50 grams. This is a lace weight in the Mitzi colorway. This is what drew me. Thought those fun, bright neons. And then I picked up a skein of her Romney sock. And I picked this up because, one, it is a unique base that I have not seen before. This is 60% U.S. sourced merino, 30% U.S. sourced Romney, 10% nylon, 400 yards to 100 grams. And this is in the colorway Plum One of a Kind. So this was kind of a one of a kind color. So I thought I would hold these two together to make something. So it's like, it says plum, but it is like a gray. It's reading a little purple on the screen, but it is gray. It's like a dark charcoal gray. But when you pop it with this, it's gonna be pretty. So I picked those up, and she had a generous coupon code for first-time buyers on her website. I then got my October self-striping yarn club from Freckled Whimsy. This is on her Serendipity base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 460 yards of the main color, and 20 gram mini. This is in the colorway Honey Crisp. Beautiful tans, browns, this beautiful like rubescent red that's looks a lot like the or what's the one, scarlet. And there's like a mint green and kind of a sour apple green, and so that's from Freckled Whimsy, another Illinois dyer. And then I thought that was it, but then I remembered, yeah, since last we spoke, we actually put up our 2020 It's Not an Advent mini skein collection, which the whole premise behind this is everybody does Advents. They're great. They're fabulous. I'm going to show you one here in a minute. But we wanted to do something that people could buy, purchase, without the added cost of added accoutrement and packaging and all that stuff and hard work that goes into it. But you could buy a curated set of 25 mini skeins and get to see what they look like. So if you want to participate in any of these knit-alongs and beautiful patterns that come out for Advent sets, you could do so, but without the added expense of all those accoutrements. Plus, you know what you're getting as you work into it. So this was our 2020 set. We had 24 of these. We dyed 25. I kept one. You can see kind of the flow here. And here it is all wound up. And they're all braided together. And the card tells you what each color is. And so we had 24 of them, and we sold out in a matter of days. So we are not dyeing another set right now because we are behind. But these will probably come out next year. With whatever Advent set I decide to knit with this. I have one picked out by Casapinka right now. I love Amber O'Brien, but none of her, she has 4 designs this year. None of them really struck my fancy this year. So the Casapinka one's a mystery, but then I'm waiting to see Lisa Ross, Paper Daisy Creations, has a new pattern coming out, and I'm gonna see if that will work with this. But I'm waiting to see that come out. So this is the Leading Men's It's Not an Advent 2020 set. Unfortunately, you cannot get these right now. We're not taking custom orders or anything for that. There is one kit from last year's set that comes with last year's pattern. Or no, it's the 2018 AMBA pattern. But if you really wanted to get a set ready to go, shipping out now, we have one in the 2019 color scheme. You can check that out on our website. Speaking of Advents, though, there are beautiful people in our fiber community, and I am so lucky to call this person a friend. I've had the pleasure of meeting them several times in real life, and we always seem to enjoy a good meal together when we're together, and we enjoy each other's podcasts and company when we're in real life, and that is Diane of Suburban Stitcher, whom I was like, man, I must still be subscribed to her. She hasn't recorded since August. Diane, we miss you. Come back. I know life has been busy. Trust me. I get it. But she had mentioned that she was doing two different Advent sets this year. One was going to be Diane colors, very pinks and purples and girly, and one was going to be a neutral fade. And I was like, oh, girl, that sounds good. So I told her, I was like, applause to you on this. It sounds wonderful. If you want to swap our Advents, I'm totally for that. And she's like, I don't want to swap because I don't know if I'd have time, to when I would knit with it. And I'm like, girl, I know that's the story. Like, I get that, but I am going to knit this one. So she was generous enough and wouldn't take no for an answer. So she gifted me one of her neutral Advent sets because she's a lovely human being. And so this came about a month ago, actually, and I've just put it away into one of our cabinets, and I brought it out to show you. It'll come back out on the 1st, but here's her little insert card, and then she's got 25 mini skeins all wrapped up and numbered in here. And so she says open one envelope a day. She gives you suggested patterns that you could knit with this set. Other patterns if you want to add additional yarn to them. She tells you coordinating colorways in her lineup that would go with each one. And yeah, so I'm super excited about this. I've never really done a true Advent. I've only done my own. So thank you, Diane. I'm going to love and cherish that and try to stay on top of it, but we all know how that plan works out, especially when I'm going to try to knit my own plus yours, plus stay on top of my other knitting. Anyway, moving on. All right, this episode, we have a very special giveaway. This was donated by Laura Nelkin of Nelkin Designs. We had made a purchase through her for some of her beaded kits, and she sent this along as a little thank you, and I decided to gift it all to you on the podcast because I don't foresee myself knitting this. 1, they're bottom-up socks. 2, they're beaded and little petty socks. So this is her bottoms-up beaded sock kit, which comes with a 50-gram skein of undyed yarn and then a 20-gram mini of Mitchell's Creations. And then it comes with about 6 grams of 6O glass seed beads plus super floss for placing beads and a pattern download code. So, and then it's got a little bottle opener for the Bottoms Up Club. This was part of her Lola's Choice Yarn Club, which she has several different clubs you can join into. She usually works with us on a couple of them throughout the year, so we're very lucky to do that. And so this is going to be a giveaway. This is already up on our Ravelry group in the Dramatic Knits video podcast group. You must be a member of the group in order to be eligible to win. You can only post once, and you must answer the prompt, which this week's prompt is, when you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up? So I'm interested to hear, when you were a kid, what did you want to be? I, ironically enough, made my dream come true. I really wanted to be a teacher. Well, I don't know if I really wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a performer of some sort later on, but I always remembered playing teacher as a kid, so I enjoyed that. Later on in life, I kind of want to be a forensic psychologist, but I was already starting college, and I was like, I'm not going to go back and then do 7+ more years into that. Granted, then, everybody and their mom was wanting to get into that with, CSI and all that. So I was like, now I get to do the job that I absolutely love and had no idea I wanted to do. So one dyeing yarn, and now I'm loving running a business. I'm loving all the planning and the buying of new products and opening a storefront and getting to meet people and inspiring people and helping to curate creativity is just so much fun for me. So, but yeah, go on over, enter for that. You could be eligible to win. Let's move into a round of applause. Last episode, we were giving away this kit called the Drunken Path Reversible Scarf Kit. There was a picture, there you go. Comes with a skein of sock yarn plus a skein of mohair and the pattern. And the winner of this was number 25, who is Hikes and Bikes. That is Nikki from Oregon. So congratulations, Nikki. She knit a baby blanket square, which you can see on the... Oh my gosh, I'm so wrong. I'm sorry, Nikki, hold on. Hold on, Nikki. I read the wrong thing. The winner of the Drunken Path Reversible Scarf Kit is number 10, Saki Man. That is Jean from California. And the prompt last episode was, what's your favorite libation or alcohol beverage? And Jean said, I love a Midori margarita on the rocks, not blended, lovely green, refreshing melon flavor, ideal. I do like Midori. I do like margaritas. I do prefer them blended, though. I prefer my martinis not blended, which you wouldn't get a blended martini, but... So congratulations, Jean. You are the winner of this scarf kit. Please message me on Ravelry with your first and last name, mailing address, and email address, and I will get this out to you as soon as I can. Now, let's move into the October 2020 Race to the Finished Object Contest, which has come to a close. Our winner for the prize is number 25, Hikes and Bikes. That is Nikki from Oregon, and she did a baby blanket square. And Nikki, you are winning 2 skeins of Crystal Palace Yarns Panda Silk in the Buttercup Tones colorway. This was gifted to the podcast, and it is a 52% bamboo, 43% merino, 5% combed silk. Great for wearing, making some summer socks or little petty socks. And you said you liked yellow and yellow green, so I thought this would suit you really well. So there's 100 grams of that coming your way. Nikki, please again, email me name, address, and email address via Ravelry, and I will get that out to you as soon as I can. We also pulled a winner from our featured designer, and that is Jennifer Lassonde. The winner of that was number 14, who is... Aries Knitwit, that is Karen from Pennsylvania. So congratulations, Karen. Karen knit an Aslyn shawl by Vera Valimaki, and she used some discontinued Leading Men Fiber Arts Ghost Light. So Karen, if you would please take a look at Jennifer Lassonde's patterns on Ravelry and let me know which one of her patterns you would like, I will let Jennifer know and she will gift it to you. So thank you for everyone for showing off what they knit in October. If you have finished something in November and we haven't entered it yet, go on over to the November 2020 Race to the Finished Object Contest thread and show us what you've knit this month. Each finished object gets you an entry into the thread, so post each one separately. Again, we will have a prize and a pattern from our featured designer, who is Jennifer Lassonde. Speaking of Jennifer Lassonde, we're running a knit along for any of her patterns in the Dramatic Knits group. It's running from October 1st through December 31st, which is while she is being featured on the podcast. And you can knit any of her patterns, as many of her patterns as you want. Each finished object you can post as an entry. Each month we will pull for a winner. And I wanted to show you the featured pattern for this episode by Jennifer Lassonde. And this one is her next most knit project. This is the Ice Time Hat by Jennifer Lassonde, and it is a 2-color DK weight hat mosaic. So I think I have this in my queue. If I don't, it's going in my queue because it's really cool. So if you have, less than 100 yards of each color of scraps of DK weight, you can knit that. So check that out on Ravelry. That is the Ice Time Hat by our featured designer, Jennifer Lassonde. And then we have our October winner. We had 2 people complete an object in the month of October. So we picked a random number, and it was between number 2 and number 3. Number 3 won, who is Knitter Chow, a longtime favorite of the podcast and follower of the podcast. That is Kathy from Michigan. Kathy knit the Ice Time hat by Jennifer Lassant. So she knit that hat. And Kathy, you are winning a mystery skein of blue yarn. So this was donated to the podcast. I want to say it's a non-superwash wool. I don't know, you might want to use a spinner's gauge to figure it out, or you do lots of crafty things, but I thought you would give this a good home, and you love your blues and purples and greens, so I thought this would be good for you. So unfortunately this didn't have a tag, but I knew it would go to a good home with you. So Kathy, send me a message on Ravelry and I'll get this out to you as soon as I can. All right, let's move into center stage, all things Leading Men Fiber Arts. So first up, we don't have a new colorway to show you yet. I know what it is. It's been dyed up, the prototype, but we now need to get into the process of dyeing it, but we can't start until we get back in the studio. So nothing like a time crunch on top of everything else. Let's talk about some new items that have made their way into the shop. First up, only because it's large and in charge, I have, this is the only one online. I did have to take another one down due to copyright infringement, which I did not know about. I thought if I purchased them through a website that I would be fine, but was not. So it will be available if you come to the studio because I still have it. But this one I know is licensed with the company to sell it. This is a diamond painting through, are they on here? It's supposed to be through Heartful Designs. But this one is a raven diamond painting. That's what it will look like. And this one, I got a couple different sizes of things. This is a 12-inch by 18-inch canvas raven diamond painting. If you haven't diamond painted before, it's kind of like cross-stitching without having to thread your needle. You have little diamond cut acrylic drills, and you use a little pen to pick them up, and you put it on a sticky canvas, and here's a little instructions on the back, and it makes a cool picture. So this one is the Raven. So you can check that out under the craft kits section on the Leading Men Fiber Arts website, which doesn't have much in it yet, but don't worry, it's going to be growing. Then under tools and accessories, we have a brand new line of maker that is joining our shop, and that is Wax and Wool. We are super excited to bring them into our lineup. They are based out of Oregon, I believe, or Washington. I believe Oregon. No, Evergreen. What's the Evergreen state? Washington. I think it's Washington. But we have 12 scents. We had 13. We sold out of one of them. We have their limited edition holiday scents as well. There's 4 of those. 3 or 4. Christmas Market Tree Farm. There's another one too. Anyway, I know they're sold out of their holiday scents on their Etsy store. So if you're looking for them, come on over to us. We also have all their a lot of their sold out stuff that they're sold out online. We have all their men's scents as well, including tobacco, bourbon, leather, and I swear there's something else. Bayberry Garland is the other Christmas scent or holiday scent. This one is brown sugar and fig. And they come in these amber candles or amber jars. And it's a soy candle, so you can reuse the jar once you've, excuse me, used it all. And it comes with a black lid. You can check these out under tools and accessories. And then once you click on that, you can then select candles and see all the beautiful scents that we have. Lemon and juniper. There was English lavender. We sold out of that. Evergreen State is on there. There's one of those. Brown sugar and fig. Oh my gosh, so many to mention. They're just so good. Mandy really liked bourbon. We also got a new update of yarn pouches. About half of them have sold already, but I'll be putting in another order soon. There are some seasonal prints in there, including this decorated cacti fabric. And I know there's kind of a Thanksgiving themed one and some winter themed ones. And then we have a new kit. We're doing a knit along for this in the Leading Men Fiber Arts group, and you can find a coupon in there to use on yarn or the kit. And that is for the dive-in cowl. We have a professionally printed pattern in here with a download code on Ravelry, and then you get the 3 minis and the intermission that are used for the pattern. She originally used rusted in here, which has been discontinued, so we matched it with Give a Hoot, which is a very similar brown that I think will go very similar. You probably won't even tell a difference from the picture. And it's a good price point, $37 for the kit. Again, you can save 15% off of this if you go to the Dive-In Cowl Knit Along in the Leading Men Fiber Arts group. And there's a coupon there that you can use for mini skeins, intermission, or the kit itself. So let's talk about the Cast of Characters Mini Skein Yarn Club. We are working to get the last batch of those grouped together and shipped out. And we are also excited to announce, I'm going to announce it now, that we are working with Stephanie Lotvin, Telly Bean Knits, who designed the Dive-In Cowl, to design a series of patterns using mini skeins for the year 2021. So she's kind of going to be our designer in residence in our mini skein club. And she's going to design one pattern every quarter that uses minis, anywhere from 1 to 2 minis up to 25 minis. She does have reign to use more than just minis for one of the patterns, but 3 of them will just use minis. So if you are collecting these mini skeins and you're like, I don't know what to do with them, well, we're going to help with that. So we will include a postcard every month that her pattern is released, and there will be a knit along in the Leading Men Fiber Arts group for that pattern, and you will get a coupon code on your postcard to get a percentage off of the pattern. You don't get it with the kit because we're not raising prices or anything like that. Stephanie's working with us and collaborating with us, so she will generously give you guys who are in the club a coupon code to get the pattern at a discounted rate. And yeah, so we're super excited about that. To work with Stephanie all through 2021, and she's going to be our designer in residence. So if you'd like to sign up for our Cast of Characters Mini Skein Yarn Club and you haven't done so, you get 5 minis every month for $30 flat. And if you're in the continental US, you get free shipping, and we invoice on the 10th of every month. You have to pay by the 17th. They ship out by the 24th. And there is an option to add the Katrinkles Stitch Marker of the Month set to your club as well. Don't forget, if you're checking out with us online, that you, or if you do place a custom order as well, whether you're checking out there or online, if you put your phone number in and you sign up for our loyalty program, you will essentially get points back, which will get you 10% off on future purchases. So make sure to click to join our loyalty program. Don't forget our current knit alongs going on in the Leading Men Fiber Arts group. We have the Dive-In Cowl knit along that is running until, January 31st. I'm sorry. I'm trying to suck in air to talk. And we then have our Incendio Cowl, which is going to the end of the year. And we have our Happenings Wrap knit along, which is wrapping up at the end of November. And that's it. We have no upcoming shows to talk about, nothing really fancy other than we hope that you enjoyed this podcast. We hope that you'll follow the business on Leading Men Fiber Arts on Instagram, Facebook, and sign up for our newsletter if you haven't done so. Great place. I tried to send out 1 newsletter a week with what's new in the shop and if anything is special happening. And as always, you can find the show Dramatic Knits on YouTube. Our website is dramaticknits.com, where you can find show notes. And You can also find it in our Ravelry group. We'd love if you join the Dramatic Knits Ravelry group if you haven't done so. And if you're watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and or subscribe. I'd love to see you over there. And I love all your comments, so feel free to shout out and say hi. I don't always respond unless it's a question, but I do read each and every one of them. So thank you all for joining me one more episode. As always, I dread sometimes having to set up and sit down and take a couple hours of my day to, go over all this stuff. But the minute I get into it, I enjoy sitting down and chatting with you all. Thank you so much for sticking with me if you've been a longtime viewer. And if you're new, I'll see you next time. So until I see you in 2 weeks, I hope you make something dramatic.